This is my geometry course. Today we're going to take test number 3. In the previous class I gave you a practice test for homework, and we also did a practice test together. I'm going to say again, do not take this test before you complete that practice test for homework, and you do the practice test that we did together with me in the previous class. Those practice tests are crucial to your success on this test. You cannot pass a math exam without studying for the test. It just will not happen. Okay, so if you take this test and you fail it, that means that all the work that I put into it is going to be for nothing. And that brings me to another important point I didn't go over in the previous class. A lot of students would say, well, again, why are we giving tests? What is the point of a test? Well, the test is the most important part of this part of the course. The tests are the most important part of the course in general, because the tests actually prove that you learned something. Unless you can prove that you learned something, then this course is useless. So I just want to remind you of that. So go ahead and put your name and the date in the course title on your paper. You're going to lose 1 point for each of these that you don't write. As usual, there are 25 problems on the test for a total of 100 points. I want you to show all of your work. Now, some problems don't require work, meaning there's only, you only have to write one number for your answer. There's no work that really needs to be shown. But in problems where there is work that you can do, I want you to show that work. If you don't show the work, then all that means is that you just looked at the answer and wrote the answer. You have to be able to explain to somebody how you got your answer. And so that's the purpose of showing work. When it comes to a time limit, again, this is all stuff that I mentioned for previous tests, but I want to remind you that I don't really care how long it takes you to finish this test, whether it be 45 minutes, an hour, or 5 hours. The most important thing is that you can demonstrate that you know how to do this stuff without any help. And that brings me to the next point, which is I want you to clear the table, clear the desk that you're sitting at, wherever you're sitting. You should have no help from anybody, no internet, no textbooks, no notes from previous classes. You need to complete this test based on only what's in your head right now. Not what you're getting from notes or the internet or your phone and so on and so forth. Also, you can use a calculator, as you can see here. Just like in the practice test, you can use a calculator for this test. So let's go ahead and get screenshots of the test. Here's screenshot number 1. And screenshot number 2. And number 3. Number 4. And number 5. And number 6. And number 7. So go ahead and take the test, pause the video, and maybe write down the time code for the video, so when you come back to the video you'll know where to pick up. Pause the video, and when you're done with the test, come back to this point in the video and we'll talk about how to score the test and how to assign yourself a grade for the test so you can see how you did. So go ahead and pause the video and take the test. All right, we're back. So I'm going to give you the answers to the test. Don't look at these answers unless you've done the test completely and correctly. If you just look at the answers, then that makes the test completely useless. So here's screenshot number 1, or take a picture with your phone, and here's shot number 2 of all the answers. And as usual, I'm going to give you some guidelines on how to score your test. These are the same guidelines we went over in previous classes, so I don't know if I really need to go over this much, but there is one little thing that we're adding here. There was one problem, maybe 2 or 3 problems, I forget, where you were required to write units. If you don't write those units, you're going to lose 1/8 of the points for that problem. So what that means is, if the problem is worth, let's say the problem only has one part, so the problem is worth 4 points, then 1/8 of that would be 1/2 of a point. So you take 4 and multiply by 1/8 to get 1/2. I know that's kind of complicated, but if you don't write units, you lose 1/2 of a point. Let's say that the problem that you're doing is it's a part of a 2-part problem. So there's 2 parts, and let's say on this part you forgot to write units, so you lose 1/8 of this part. Now each problem is worth 4 points, so that means that this part is worth 2 points, and if you lose 1/8 of that, then that would be 2 times 1/8 is 1/4, so you lose 1/4 of a point for that problem. So if this whole problem is worth 4 points, then you subtract 1/4 if you didn't write units in this second part. So I know that's kind of complicated, but these are just some guidelines on how to score your test if you forget to write units. Alright, so go ahead and score your test. You can read these guidelines again to help you, and when you come back, we'll talk about how to interpret your score. So pause the video, write down the time code, and you can come back to this part in the video when you're done scoring your test. So go ahead and score the test. Alright, we're back. So again, there's 100 points total. If you scored between 90 and 100, then that's an A, excellent. If you scored 80 to 89, then that's good, and that's typically given a letter grade of B. If you scored 70 to 79, that's given a letter grade of C. That's just how we do things in the United States. I mean, it's different in other countries, but this is the letter grade system we have. And 70 to 79 is adequate, so that's okay. If you score anything less than a 70, then that's considered failing, which means that you didn't really do what you needed to do to prepare for the test. Whatever effort you put in was not enough. So these scores and grades are not meant to hurt you in any way. They're just meant to give you extremely valuable information. If you scored in this green area, that means that you did what you needed to do to prepare for that exam. You learned what you need to learn. If you scored in the red area, that means that this is not working. Now, again, if you're waiting for the magic potion that's going to make you perform well in mathematics without you actually putting in effort, there is no magic potion. It does not exist. You might look for it for years and years and years. You're never going to find it. You have to put in effort. You have to take mathematics seriously, because remember, the whole point of a math course is to learn fluency in the language, and learning how to read and write a language fluently is not easy. You have to put in a lot of effort. So, excellent means that you did very, very well, obviously. Very, very Good. Good means that you did well, but there's just a few minor things you need to work on. Adequate means you did well, but there's quite a few things you need to work on. And again, this area means that you didn't put in enough effort, or you need to go back and see what you did wrong. Now, if you didn't do well on this test, if you're in the red in this test and the previous test and the test before that, so all the first 3 tests, if you're in the red, then that's a problem. That means that you probably need to go back and start studying the curriculum from the very beginning, and get a if you're tired of my curriculum, then go get a geometry textbook online and start going back over the basic things. Maybe get a different perspective, but that's going to be a big problem if you've been in the red 3 times in a row. It may not be possible for you to make up for that at this point, because you can't just keep scoring red, 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 red. You've got to eventually figure out what you're doing wrong. If you're in the red, maybe 1 or 2 tests, or maybe at the maximum 3 tests, you might be able to recover. But at this point, again, we're getting to a juncture in the course where you're either learning this stuff or you're not. So that said, if you scored in the green, very good job. And that means you're ready to go on to the 4th part of the course. And I think that's about it for this class. So there's no homework for this class because you just finished the test. So I'll see you in the next class.